Good afternoon. I would like to welcome everyone today to the State Board of Education meeting for Tuesday, May 9th, 2023. I would like to start by asking Dr. O'Shields if he will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Everyone would please stand. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. As we begin, I do ask all board members and any speakers to please speak into the microphone so that we're able to accurately transcribe the minutes following today's meeting. That being said, we will move on to approval of the minutes. Is there any objection to approving the minutes as presented to you for the April 11, 2023 meeting? Hearing none, the minutes are approved by unanimous consent. Next, for our agenda for today, is there any objection to approving the agenda as presented? Hearing none, the agenda is approved by unanimous consent. We do welcome everyone in attendance with us today and those that are joining us as well by calling in. Thank you. I do want to recognize the following visitors. We have with us today Leslie Snyder and Lucas Delaney and Nora Snyder from Lexington Richland 5 and USC. So, there you are. We're so glad to have y'all here today. We also have with us today Kristen Davis from the SCEA. So we are glad to have you in attendance. We also have several people from the Sumter School District Teacher Forum. If you'll wave your hand. Wow, see, I knew it was several. We are so glad to have you here with us today as well. We also have several people from the South Carolina Public Charter School District here with us today. There you go. Wonderful. We're so glad you're here with us today as well. We do have some news outlets that had signed in as visitors. So I believe Queen City News. Oh, hello. Thank you. And Fox News, I believe. Fox? Okay. Thank you so much. All right. Wonderful. Is there anyone else from the media that may be present that I did not have on that list? Okay. Great. We have a full house today, definitely. I do welcome each of you to today's meeting. I know May is such a special time and it is a busy time for all of our schools. I know many of the schools across the district have been celebrating Teacher Appreciation Weeks, Staff Appreciation Weeks. And I know I speak on behalf of everyone up here when I say how grateful we truly are to everyone that works within our schools, not just our teachers, but also our bus drivers, our cafeteria staff, custodians, everyone that plays a part in impacting the life of a child every day. So we are so grateful for that. And we hope everyone here will go and extend that gratitude to those within their areas and within their school districts back home. I also want to mention in my report today as well that we are so grateful for all of the work that the State Department did for the garden party for the State Teacher of the Year. So it was such a wonderful time. It was so well planned. I tell you, I can't even imagine pulling all that together. But we are so appreciative of that. And so many of our board members were able to attend that day as well. And it's always wonderful to celebrate alongside our teachers and our districts and be a part of all the great things that are happening. So we are grateful for that. Thank you. One thing I did want to do, and I almost skipped it, Ms. Frierson, I am so sorry, but the teacher forum that's here today to visiting is in your district, and I kind of wanted to be able to call on you in case you wanted to say anything special to them.
Sumter County, God bless you, and we're so glad to see you here. I started in Sumter County a long time ago. Thank you for coming.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. With that being said, I'll move on from my report and would like to recognize Superintendent Weaver for her report for today.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to start my report with a little bit of history, but I love that we have Sumter in the house today because one of my favorite education stories in the state of South Carolina took place in a little town called Maysville in Sumter County, where Mary McLeod Bethune lived her life, grew up, and went on to become one of the most distinguished educators we've ever graduated from the state of South Carolina. So it's wonderful to have y'all in the house today. And I wanted to start, show and tell was always my favorite part of kindergarten. And so I'm going to do a little show and tell today, if I can lift this thing. So we found this here in the recesses of the Department of Education. It is very heavy. It's obviously very old. There are no serial numbers on it or anything. So I do not know the provenance of this seal. I would like to try to figure that out. So we've asked the state archives if they can do some research into it to find out what it was used for, when it may have been used, and what part of our history it may represent. But you can tell that it got a lot of use because it's very faint. It's kind of hard to see. So if you all want to look at it, come up to me afterwards. But it says Office State Superintendent of Education, South Carolina. And what I love most about it is that it has a book with a key on it. That is what we are here to celebrate and to do all day, every day. Knowledge as the key to the future, to economic success, to personal success, to success in life. And so I just love the symbolism of that. And I was so excited to discover this little piece of South Carolina history right here in the department. But that carries me right into the actual substance of my report, which is really centered around literacy. I was able to hand out to each of you one pager that we have recently put together that just explains a little bit about the science of reading and what this letters training is that we have been talking about all this time. I know people have been asking a lot of questions, so we hope that this will give you a little bit of information to have a more informed conversation about folks in your networks, about what we're really working on here at the department. And you know, I was able to get out into the field a little bit. A couple of weeks ago, I visited Forts Pond Elementary School in Lex One. Superintendent Postlethwaite was kind enough to host me out there. And I was able to actually sit down after school and just have an off-the-record conversation with a number of their teachers who have started this letters training. And it was so encouraging to hear some of the things that they said. One of the teachers said, I didn't know how to help, and now I know what to do. And another one said that it's given them a common language to use. But rather than listen to me talk about it, I actually have a short 4.5-minute video that I wanted to show you all today. And this video will feature a teacher from Forts Pond, a teacher from Horry County Schools. Dr. Maxey was kind enough to send in some videos, and then also Dr. Kennedy in Charleston. So we have some representation from Charleston. So with that, let's go ahead and roll the tape.
After that word. Ran to ram. Say the word spot. Spot. Okay, let's tap it. Ready? Spot. Spot.
I've been teaching, especially the last few, I have noticed like a huge I don't feel like I'm giving these kids what they need. Like I'm teaching comprehension, and I always felt like pull small groups to give them what they need, but I'm like, I don't know how to teach them what they need. And so when I found out that we were getting letters training, I was absolutely ecstatic.
Thinking through different ways that we have taught and that when kids weren't making progress and I didn't know what to do next. Like we were stuck at a reading level and I couldn't move them. And through letters, I'm able to do more, I'm able to do assessments that really target their skills. Like I can see, we're struggling with vowels and I can work on vowel sounds, or we're not hearing the last sound in words, and I can work through more specific skills, and I know more about my students as readers and writers through using these strategies.
I see them growing, and I see them reading, and I see them being successful, and they're excited about something. And I mean, even as we were sitting there doing it, like you could tell, like we have fun doing it. It's relationships with each other, and at the same time they're learning to read, and that's going to, especially for a lot of these kids, that's going to change their lives.
Hi, I'm Heather Chambers, a second grade teacher at Loris Elementary.
Letters has been a great way for me to become a stronger and more intentional teacher. I use the Letters Phonics Survey as well as the PAST assessment in order to create lessons to close the gaps with my students. The assessments help me to focus on exactly what phonemic awareness and phonics skills my students need. And the letters trainings have been really helpful for me because they allow me to see the strategies in action that I can implement in my classroom, both for my struggling students as well as my on and above grade level students. Letters has given me a lot of additional strategies that I can implement in both my small group and my whole group lessons. My students have shown so much more confidence in class, and I've also been told that they have at home as well, and I see them wanting to use those strategies in their independent reading and writing. Their smiles and excitement for learning has made this extra special.
Hey, my name is Graylin Trammell, and I currently have the privilege of being involved in the Letters professional development. And I wish I had it when I was a third grade teacher, because it really does give teachers the content knowledge that they need in order to address student misconceptions around reading and writing. One of the big ideas that you start the training off with is the simple view of reading, which tells you that word recognition times your language comprehension is going to dictate how strong your reading comprehension is. So if students are weak in word recognition, then now we have tools in our toolbox to help address those needs, such as things like phonics, phonological awareness, how you form your mouth to make sound so that students can accurately and fluently blend words together, which then translates to the language comprehension piece, and that's the vocabulary and the background knowledge that students need to have around a topic so that they can comprehend. One piece of research that I hold near and dear to my heart is that a curriculum is only as good as the teacher using it. And this training helps teachers become better users of their curriculum so that they can implement it with integrity, knowing and deeply understanding how students progress in their learning towards reading and sounding out words, decoding words, so that they not only learn to read, but so that they can also read to learn.
So I hope you all are as encouraged by that as I am. Really, this is a movement to empower teachers as much as it is to empower students. And when we hear those stories from the classroom, it just warms my heart and gives me such a sense of purpose in terms of moving this forward. We're so thankful for the support we've gotten from the General Assembly and just the growing momentum that we see around the state. In addition to those districts, there was a wonderful story out of Fort Mill with Superintendent Epps looking to realign his district around the science of reading. And so it's really exciting, the movement and the energy that we have here on the ground. And I think this is going to pay huge dividends for both our teachers and our students. But as you said, May is certainly a month for celebration. And so in addition to the wonderful Teacher of the Year, Renee Atkinson, that we were able to recognize at our Teacher of the Year celebration. And by the way, I want you all to know that the young lady who planned our Teacher of the Year gala in the garden, Evers Thordall, now Montgomery, she got married on Saturday. So I told her, I said, you were always going to remember the spring when you essentially planned two weddings
I was about to say,
simultaneously.
a wedding at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, just unbelievable. So congratulate her when you all see her next time. They're on their honeymoon this week. So, but I do want to go ahead and recognize two very special teachers who are here with us today. These teachers are each past recipients of the Milken Award. And so the Milken Award was created in 1987, and it's a nationally and internationally prestigious award that allots teachers $25,000 unrestricted when they win this. And this is targeted to teachers who are in their early to mid-career. So oftentimes, we see awards that are for a cumulative lifetime, but this is really about retaining those teachers who are early in their profession. And so we have two educators with us today, interestingly, two Leslies, one IE and one EY, but let me just read the quick commendations and then I'll invite them to come up and we'll present them their award and take a picture. Leslie Sullivan was named as a Milken Educator in February of 2020, so right in the middle of the pandemic. She brings history to life for her students at Palmetto Scholars Academy in North Charleston. She is a master of content for her honors and advanced placement classes, including U.S. history, government, and economics. More than 3/4 of Palmetto's graduates are enrolled in college or have earned degrees, and alumni say that Sullivan's high expectations have helped them in their post-secondary studies. A role model for her peers, Leslie has mentored new teachers, led professional development for Palmetto faculty, and contributes lesson plans to an online network for AP US history teachers. And so because she did receive her award during the pandemic, it was mailed to her, but she never was officially presented with it. So we wanted to rectify that today. And then our second recipient, Leslie Snyder, our most recent Milken Educator recipient at Dutch Fork Middle School, and she was named for this award April of last year. She creates innovative, purposeful learning experiences that motivate and engage her ELA students. She challenges the 8th graders in her honors class to think independently and holds every student to the same high standards. Lessons include real-world examples and career connections with parents, administrators, and community members, often joining the class for hands-on learning experiences. Thanks to Snyder's strategies for teaching text-dependent analysis, students leave her class as strong, confident readers and writers. One student even published a book that was inspired by a classroom project. So we are so excited to recognize both of these Leslies today. And Madam Chair, would you mind joining us for some pictures? Wonderful. Well, if we can have Leslie and Leslie come forward. Leslie Sullivan. Leslie Sullivan. Wonderful. All right, we'll have you in the middle here. Perfect. Thank you. All right. Excellent. Congratulations. For a picture? Yeah, oh, sure. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Miss Leslie Snyder. I know, right? I love it. All right, here you go. Let's get And that concludes my report.
All right, thank you so much. Do any of our board members have any questions for Superintendent Weaver? Okay, wonderful. We appreciate that. And the videos were great as well. It's always something when you're talking about a program, but it's truly powerful when you can see it in action and hear from the people that are actually utilizing it. I would like to recognize Mr. John Tyler for the parliamentarian report.
So today is the next installation of our Robert's Rules for the Busy Professional. I thought it might be helpful to just here and there offer tips regarding Robert's Rules of Procedure, Robert's Rules of Orders. And the State Board of Education, you all often vote verbally. And sometimes it may seem unclear whether the result of that vote was a yes or no, simply depending on where you are seated. Perhaps you're seated near the loud no's, though it may be the dissenting minority. Perhaps you're seated nearest the loud yeses, though they may be the dissenting minority. If at any point prior to the next motion you would like a vote by show of hands because it seemed unclear to you, you can simply call for a division of the House. This does not need to be seconded. However, if it is objected to by any member of the board, there would be a vote required to determine whether you would have a division of the House vote, in other words, a show of hands. So that's all for today. I just thought that little tip might be helpful at some point.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tyler. We actually, earlier in a full board committee, voted by hands, and I did not call it a division of the House, but I made myself a note because I have never referred to it that way. We appreciate that. I know we all feel it is very beneficial to be reminded of the parliamentarian rules, so we appreciate it. We do not have anyone signed up for public comment, I do not believe. What do you say? I do? Look at my sheet. Do you see? Oh, here we go. We got it. Thank you. We do. We have 2 people signed up for public comment. Look at that. First, I would like to ask Denise Robinson from Sumter Teacher Forum to come forward. And as you come forward, I'm so glad she caught me. Thank you. We're so glad you're sharing with us today, and we do appreciate your interest in public education. We do have a time limit of 5 minutes, so just so you're aware of that as we begin. But thank you for being here
Thank
today.
you. Good afternoon. My name is Denise Robinson. I'm Sumter School District Teacher of the Year, and I'm joined by a ton of tremendous other educators that are also Teachers of the Year for their particular schools. This year, we have really focused on advocacy. In Sumter, we had a brand new superintendent, and all of our school board seats were up for election. So we put a lot of time and focus in that. So we just wanted to take advantage of our Hill Day today that was planned by PSTA and be able to come and attend a State Board of Education. So thank you for everything that you are doing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here today. We appreciate that. And I believe, is Mr. Craig King here? And we appreciate you planning the Hill Days. My district was able to take part in one as well, just it happened to be on a state board meeting day, but I know it was so wonderful and beneficial for those that attended. So thank you for planning those. Also, we have Perry Mills today from the South Carolina Public Charter School District. Mr. Mills? No? Okay, well then we are going to move right along. We will now move on to our state board items and our committee reports. I'll begin with a report from the Policy and Legislative Committee. We did have 2 action items this morning, and that was a request for approval of property disposal in Hampton County and also another in Cherokee County. Those both were approved in committee and approved to be moved to the consent agenda as well. We did not have any items for information. Does anyone have any questions regarding that report from Policy and Legislative? Okay, hearing none, this is a motion from the Policy and Legislation Committee for our report. It does not require a second, but is there any discussion? All right, with no questions, all in favor, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that carries. Thank you. I would like to recognize Mrs. Lee to present the Educator Professions Committee report.
Thank you, Chair Stapleton. The Education Professions Committee approved 3 action items earlier this morning. Item 1, South Carolina Educator Preparation Guidelines, Standards, Policies, and Procedures, Specialty Area Program Approval Standards, English for speakers of other languages. Action item 2 is a new Educator Preparation Program Approval Recommendation, Newberry College Bachelor of Science, BS in Special Education, multi-categorical PK through K-12. And item 3 is a new Educator Preparation Program Approval Recommendation, Bob Jones University Bachelor of Science in Teaching World Languages. The committee did not hear any information items this morning. The Education Professions Committee placed the 3 action items on the consent agenda.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Mrs. Lee regarding that report? Okay. That is a motion from her committee for the report. It does not require a second. Is there any discussion? Okay. With no discussion, all in favor, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Thank you, Mrs. Lee. I would now like to recognize Mrs. Frierson to present the Standards Learning and Accountability Report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Standards Learning and Accountability Committee met this morning. We had one committee action item, Personal Finance Course Standards Approval, the second reading, and it is a 1/2 unit course that was presented and was placed on the consent agenda.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ms. Frierson. For our board members, I know you may have noticed on the agenda for information regarding a curriculum update. That was not done in committee earlier, but that will just be part of the literacy update that Mr. Ferguson does later. So we will move on. And are there any questions for Ms. Frierson regarding her report? Okay, hearing none, that is a motion from her committee for the report. It does not require a second. Is there any discussion? Then we will vote on that. All in favor, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that carries. Thank you. Next, I would like to recognize Mr. Walters to present the Educator Licensure Committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We had a busy morning once again with 20 cases. One was an application for the PACE program, which was approved. We had 17 cases involving breach of contract and 2 cases involving unprofessional conduct for a total of 20. And all of those were ratified in the full board ELC.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mr. Walters. And I know we always continue to extend our appreciation to your committee and all the work they do, and to all of the board members that spend so much time reviewing those cases each month. Thank you for that. In our full board educator licensure meeting today, we did have 2 cases for consideration that resulted in a denial of reopening a case and in a breach of contract. That was a total of 22 cases that were resolved today. So to our Office of General Counsel, thank you again for all the work you do to help prepare us. And we are greatly appreciative of that, and just how smoothly everything is done and how well you prepare everything for us to be able to look at. Thank you. Now you have before you the consent agenda. We have discussed that through our committee reports, and action items have been moved to that consent agenda for approval. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Kriminger, for your motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Walters. All in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, all opposed by like sign? That motion carries. Thank you. We do have additional items today for reviewing. You will see on your agenda item 1 listed. I would like to recognize Mr. Tyler first to be able to begin the process for us for the request for graduation requirement waiver by Greenville County School District.
I'm actually going to defer to
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Gunner.
Mr. Tyler was worried you all didn't hear enough from me this morning, so we decided let's keep it going. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board, and Madam Superintendent. As you all know, my name is Henry Gunter, and I'm with the SCDE's Office of General Counsel. What I am introducing for you today is a somewhat unique matter, and so Mr. Tyler believed it would be advantageous for me to give you all a little bit of a legal background, as well as outlining the procedure for the waiver request that you are going to hear today. So there is a waiver before you that is requested by the Greenville County School District on behalf of one of its students. And the regulation sought is a waiver of State Board Regulation 43-234, which governs various academic requirements. In terms of background, I know what you all may be thinking. This isn't that unique of an issue. We heard a similar issue last month. Well, the issue last month is distinguishable because the issue last month involved a graduating senior, and there was a statute that directly addressed the matter. In this case, there is no statute directly addressing the matter, so it falls under the board's general authority to waive its own regulations where such waiver would not be contrary to any statute or constitutional requirements. In terms of the regulation itself, in terms of the statute at play, South Carolina Code Section 59-29-10 specifically requires certain subjects be taught. Aside from those subjects required by statute, the state board is charged with requiring any additional subjects. Of issue here, computer science is not required by the statute and is required by the state board regulation. In terms of that regulation, State Board Regulation 43-234 directs that a student must earn a total of 24 units of credit as follows: English Language Arts, 4 credits; mathematics, 4 credits; science, 3 credits; U.S. History and Constitution, 1 credit; economics, 0.5 credits; U.S. Government, 0.5 credits; other social studies, 1 credit; physical education or junior ROTC, 1 credit; computer science, 1 credit; foreign language or career and technology education, 1 credit; and electives, 7 credits. Looking at the regulation, it further states that each school district must ensure quality schooling by providing a rigorous, relevant curriculum for all students. So as I noted earlier, as the public body that creates the regulations, the State Board possesses the authority to waive those regulations when it deems it appropriate under unique circumstances. For the procedure for the board's review today, first, Dr. Quincy Moore and her staff from the Office of our Career and Technology Education are going to present facts relevant to the regulatory requirements and their application to the case before you today. Next, representative or representatives of the Greenville County School District will formally present the request for waiver and provide further context from the district's perspective. The board will then go into executive session to discuss the matter. Mr. John Tyler and Ms. Devin Davis will be present to provide any legal advice that the board needs during their consideration of the issue. So I will yield the podium to Dr. Moore and her staff, and thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and State Board members. Greenville School District reached out to the State Department of Education for clarification on whether or not the Greenville Technical College dual credit course CP 170 microcomputer applications would satisfy the computer science graduation requirement. Based on Regulation 5929-250, it does not. The State Department does not have the authority to waive this regulation or any state requirements put in place by State Board or the legislator. So at this time, I will introduce Mr. Eric Williams from the Greenville County School District, who is the Executive Director of College and Career Readiness, to present their request.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for your time. I did want to provide a brief timeline of the extenuating circumstances regarding this request. In the spring of 2018, Mrs. Runyon asked the Jailman High School School Counseling Department if her son could take a dual credit computer science course and use that course to satisfy the state computer science requirement. At that time, the computer science regulation had not yet changed, and districts had autonomy over what classes could satisfy computer science requirements. Her son was able to take the dual credit course mentioned by Dr. Moore, CPT 170, through Greenville Technical College to satisfy the computer science requirement. In 2021, Mrs. Runyon asked the school counseling department if her daughter could take the same Greenville Tech course instead of the typical high school computer science course as her son did previously. The school counseling department informed Ms. Runyon that she could take the course, but neglected to tell her that the course would not count as the computer science requirement as it did for her son. By 2021, of course, the computer science requirements in the state had changed. In order to meet the state requirements, students must choose from a list of the state-generated course. While Lily Runyon did receive elective credit with dual weighting for the course she took, it did not count towards her computer science requirement. At this time, I'd like to yield some of my time to Mrs. Runyon and let her explain some additional circumstances.
And Ms. Runyon, as you do come forward, we welcome you today and here to speak directly on that. Just given the circumstances, we normally do have a time limit, so it would be 5 minutes, just so you're aware.
I'll speak quickly.
No problem.
Okay. Madam Chair and members of the State Board of Education, my name is Gina Runyon. This is Bob. I didn't know we would have quite the crowd today, but it looks like it's cleared out a little. I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here today to speak on behalf of our daughter, Lily, who actually took her 4th and final AP exam this morning, and she has no idea about this dilemma or this appeal. But Bob and I felt it was important enough for us to take a time off from work and be here today with you to advocate on her behalf. In all honesty, we never imagined that we would be standing here before you requesting a waiver for a college-level computer course that she took last summer that was approved by the Greenville County School J.L. Mann Guidance Department. Like other class of 2024 students, our daughter began her freshman year in a mask with very little social interaction and a great deal of anxiety. She learned that she could control, to some degree, her academic performance, so she dug in. Confidentially, there are private elements that we are unwilling or uncomfortable to talk about today that should be in your written documents that you received. While sophomore year saw much more normalcy, obviously, Lily injured her back and subsequently had a microdiscectomy as a result. Spring 2023, which has arguably been her most difficult semester, with 4 AP classes and honors physics, she's been plagued with illness. She had COVID and a visit to the ER with lingering symptoms. Currently, she's ranked 20 out of 490 with a 5.178 GPA. She's already met the requirements for Palmetto Fellow, the state's highest scholarship. And Superintendent Weaver, you may be interested to know that our AP research project was on early childhood literacy in South Carolina. To say we're proud parents is an understatement. Bob and I are proponents of public education. We followed our children from elementary school to middle school to high school, volunteering, sitting on school improvement council where I still would be had work not interfered. I tell you all of this to say that our faith in public schools has been strong up until this point. Starting in 8th grade, we mapped out Lily's academic plan. We've never relied specifically on guidance counselors to tell us what to take. We've worked in partnership with them. We thought that this situation was no different. She took CPT 170 the summer between her sophomore and junior year, which allowed her to take an additional English course and participate in J.L. Mann's capstone, AP capstone program. As you can see in the timeline that you received, our son took the same computer course the summer between his sophomore and junior year. What we did not know was that the legislature had changed the requirements, and obviously our guidance department did not know this either. We do have confirmation August of 2021 and spring of 2022 that the class would count towards Lily's graduation requirements. I have it in writing twice. We had no reason to believe that it would not count. So imagine our surprise 9 months later when we learned that indeed it does not count for graduation. So you may ask, why can't Lily just tack on another class her senior year? Her father and I would first offer that she's already taken a college-level computer course that was once accepted by the state of South Carolina. Lily should not be punished for this unintentional error. This summer is also not an option for her to take the course. She's working at camp and she's going on a mission trip. Senior year, she's taking AP Stat, AP Lit, AP Environmental Science, and a dual enrollment American government course, which I do have in writing, checked twice from J.L. Mann Guidance, that it does count toward graduation. The grueling college application process starts this summer and continues into the fall. She's also hoping for a fall internship and plans to find a job, which we wholeheartedly support. A computer course cannot replace one of her 4 core credits that she's taking senior year. Any college admissions counselor will tell you that a competitive application includes one of the 4 core courses. Also, if the computer course is tacked on to the previously mentioned schedule, it will raise a red flag on her competitive college admissions and will be impossible to explain. And lastly, and more importantly, most importantly of all, we're concerned about her mental health. From the pandemic to back surgery to COVID and experiencing long-term symptoms, she has struggled to catch a break in high school. She will not understand while she's being punished for an error she did not cause. So today we're asking for your thoughtful consideration of this waiver as it directly impacts our daughter's mental health and could impede her college acceptances. We ask you, the members of the State Board of Education, to do the right thing and support one of your students. Granting a waiver for CPT 170 to count toward her graduation requirements is not setting a precedent, it is righting a wrong. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Runyon, for being here, and Mr. Runyon as well. We appreciate that. Before we exit the room to go into executive session, do any of our members have a question for Mr. Gunter, for Dr. Moore, for Greenville School District, or for the parents? Okay. Did you have something else? Yes, okay. Then, do we have any objection to going into executive session to deliberate on this matter? Okay. Hearing none, the board members, we will exit the room and go up to room 806. And then, as shared earlier, Mr. Tyler and Davis, right? Okay, will join us to offer any legal advice for questions we may have. Thank you. I believe we have everyone. And thank you for your patience as we exited and as we return. And I do declare us back into open session. We will now entertain a motion regarding this waiver request.
Yes, Madam Chair. I move that based upon the unique set of facts and circumstances at issue in the instant case, that the request for course substitution for the approved computer science course credit be approved.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Slaughter. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, thank you, Mr. Walters. Do we have any discussion?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Yes, please, Dr. Hanley.
As this is a unique case, as Ms. Slaughter said, I would only be willing to vote in favor of this if the staff, in fact, does write the letter of approval in such a way that it makes it clear that this is not to be precedent for future approvals, and that because of the unique circumstances here, such as this was the first year of full implementation of the policy, and because of extenuating circumstances within the district, that this is in fact a unique case.
Thank you, Dr. Hanley, for that clarification. Any other discussion? Okay, so we have a motion from Ms. Slaughter and a second from Mr. Walters. We will vote on this matter by raising of the hands. So all in favor of that motion, please raise your hands and please hold them so your name can be recorded. It's unanimous. Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Thank you. Next on our agenda today, I would like to ask Deputy Superintendent Matthew Ferguson to please come forward and share with us the literacy update and the updates regarding Allendale County School District and Williamsburg County School District.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. I am really excited to be sharing with you a literacy update. There are a lot of exciting things going on with literacy, but as usual, Superintendent Weaver stole my thunder with that wonderful video earlier. I think to really see the power and know the power of what is happening across the state in literacy is to hear, it's best heard from the voice of teachers. And I think what we have seen as we've gone around the state where LETRS is being implemented and as districts are changing their practice, teachers are feeling empowered, they're feeling relief, and they're feeling transformed in their practice to be able to improve and serve students and improve their outcomes. So I'm really excited about that. Also wanting to recognize the unique place we are in as far as policy right now. So for the first, I've been working in literacy for a long time. I may not look like it, but I have. And this iteration of standards being approved, and they are really good ELA standards, of the K-12 curriculum adoption happening over the summer and into the fall, with us looking at professional development through the funding of the foundational literacy skills for all teachers K-3 beginning next year, and then also allowing us to look at assessment for literacy. Those blocks lining up like that has not happened in my entire career. We often adopt curriculum and then approve standards, and then we change the assessment 2 or 3 times. And so this is a really unique opportunity where the stars are aligning. We just have to make sure we get it right. And I think we are doing many of the things necessary to make sure we are getting it right. The Science of Reading handout points to some of those things. And as many of the superintendents know, we are barnstorming the state, talking to every group of educators that we can about the power of the science of reading and how it's improving student outcomes. And superintendents and district staff and teachers are really open to that idea right now, and they are all lining up to participate in the training beginning next year. In addition to the 60 districts and 5,600 teachers that have already started over the last 2 years, and really inform some of the practices that we hope to scale and spread, because we've certainly learned lessons from what the letters professional development looked like in those 220 schools. There are some places where it worked really well. There are models that we hope to be able to replicate across the state. There are others where, because of how it was structured outside of the instructional day, or because teachers didn't feel as involved in that, it didn't work as well. And so we hope to be able to learn from that experience and make the rollout statewide much more effective. Related to that, in those Palmetto Literacy Project schools, also wanted to update the board around the EL curriculum. And so, as you may remember, through some ESSER funding, there was a special allocation set aside for curriculum adoption in the Palmetto Literacy Project schools. And there were 5 choices selected in that process that was funded through federal funds. Subsequent to that approval, the Proviso 1.93 passed. Only 2 districts adopted and chose to use EL curriculum as a part of the Palmetto Literacy Project schools. One of those districts was Charleston. Charleston has since identified some controversial material within that curriculum. We have done an independent review at the State Department of the concerns raised by Charleston and concur with their findings. And so as a result of that, the Department of Education will be removing the EL curriculum from the approved list for the Palmetto Project Literacy schools going forward. And so wanted to make y'all all aware of that decision from the Department of Ed staff. And that concludes the literacy update. Are you
Thank
questions,
you.
or do you want to go into
Does anyone have
the?
any questions regarding the literacy update before we move forward? Yes, Mr. Harrington.
I have a question. I can understand why, if there's some innovative thing that comes up that changes something, that we would have to go back and train the teachers that have already been through schools of education. But I didn't hear you say anything about what we're doing with the schools of education or higher education in order to see that these teachers are trained in this method before they come to the school as employees.
Mr. Harrington, that is such a good question. It is not something that is currently in what has passed this session. It is something that we are including the schools of education in the conversations. We are inviting them to participate in the letters training. We have a cohort of faculty from the schools of education that are signed up to begin that testing next year, or not that testing, to begin that process next year of the professional development. One additional piece that's in Proviso right now is the addition of a science of reading praxis assessment for teachers who are initially certified in elementary or early childhood. And that is an incentive for the schools of education to change their practices so that they are more aligned with the science of reading. Because you're absolutely right. We have to provide that training to teachers who are currently in classrooms, but we need to also correct that discrepancy on the front end. As a high school English teacher, I can tell you they never taught me how to teach reading when I came through educator prep. And so far too many of our teachers do graduate not knowing how to teach reading.
Thank you for that question, Mr. Harrington. Any other questions?
Madam Chair?
Yes, Dr.
Comment.
Hanlon.
Thank you, Mr. Ferguson. Thank you very much for your team's work in this. Charleston County is one of the counties that I represent. And yes, I had a conversation with that district concerning this material. And yes, there was an awful lot of inappropriate material for young children, as well as there was even one student who was quoted as saying, coming into the classroom and asking, what sad story are we going to read today? It's just awful, this material. And so thank you very much for reviewing it and for removing it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions with the literacy update? All right, if you want to move right into the
Yes,
other
ma'am.
updates.
And so our other updates is a little shorter, but we are currently working with an external review team, and they are this week on the ground in Allendale County. They are conducting interviews and observations. Last week, they were in Williamsburg County on the ground observing classrooms and talking to teachers, principals, administrators at the district office. Prior to that, the 2 weeks prior to that, they were conducting interviews and looking at processes in HR, finance, technology, and instruction. And the result of those visits will culminate in a report this summer, and so that we will use that evaluation, that report, to co-create an action plan for both Allendale and Williamsburg next year that outlines plans for improvement that work to improve student outcomes, and it will outline responsibilities of those at the district, but also the supports that the department hopes to be able to provide in support of that work.
Thank you for that. Are there any questions regarding that report? All right.
Thank you so much.
so much, Mr. Ferguson. We appreciate you being here today and sharing that information. Yes, Mr. Tyler.
Quick parliamentarian comment, item 2, under the State Board of Education report, may have been skipped over.
Yes, I'm glad you said that. Well, just to mention, item 2 under that State Board of Education report, it actually had been reported out in our committee report, and it was added to our consent agenda. But I did want to make sure that everyone was aware of that. So when we voted on the Oh, you want to still? Okay, well, we will go ahead and do it again. So whenever we spoke earlier, I know Ms. Frierson had talked about the personal finance 1/2 unit, course standards approval, and the second reading of that. So do we have a motion to move forward with approving the second reading?
So moved.
All right, thank you, Mr. Walters. Do we have a second?
Second.
Oh, my, I heard lots. I don't know who I heard first. Ms. Allison, I believe I heard you. Did I?
Well, I think I did have the loudest voice.
Okay. Well, that will count as our second. Is there any discussion? Okay, then we will vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, so is there any other business to come before us today? I want to remind our board members, please make sure if you have not turned in your travel forms to Tracy, that you do so before you leave. But just remember, you're not leaving yet, because we still have a public hearing that will take place after this meeting. So, but with no other business for this full board meeting, I would welcome a motion to adjourn.
So move.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Grimminger. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We